You have one of the things I like about the book is that you give a number of frameworks that people can use for each of those five. So pick a couple that are your favorite. Walk us through how you use them.
Yeah, a couple of frameworks for each of the five. So we've got a few minutes here.
Or a
I
couple altogether. I'm not expecting you to hit all five because that's a long task.
so I think one that's really helpful is the what I call the real method. So when you reality test, you want to figure out what's your reconnaissance method, right? How are we going to look at the universe of all of the things we don't know?
Mhm.
And what's the first experiment that could cut that the most? What's the second one? What's the third? The second one is, how do you collect evidence, right? What we discover in legal cases all the time is that the way you collect evidence can skew the case. And so are you
Mhm.
collecting evidence properly? And then how are you doing analysis? So one of the big issues that we see when we look at the future, when we look at what could be happening in a new situation, is that we don't look at all of the alternatives. We don't look at the range of possibilities. So when you take a look at the U.S. invasion of Iraq, it was identified that all of the things that um, went wrong could go wrong. We just decided not to plan for it, right? We said that's not an alternative that we're going to consider. And then what's the likely reality? Once again, in Iraq, um, the outcome was the likely reality. It
Yeah.
just wasn't the one we wanted, right? Because we misclassified the range of alternatives. So that's the real method, right? What's your reconnaissance? How you're going to do reconnaissance? How are you going to collect evidence? How are you going to do your analysis? And what's the most likely outcome? And you want to look at a range, and you want to track that likelihood over time. Make sure that your assessments of your baseline